Hey, this is Luke with Digital Trends, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing of a really cool product. It's the HP Omen X2S, which is probably the most interesting concept for a gaming laptop I've seen in a long time. Actually, I haven't seen it, just seen some photos. It's still in the box. So what we're going to do today is pull it out, check out what all comes with it, and hopefully get that second screen powered up. That's right, this laptop comes with a second screen that you can use in a bunch of different ways. So let's see what's in the box. Okay, here we go. Let's get the first box. That's right, there are a couple of boxes out. So this is the box for the actual laptop itself. Obviously got the Omen logo there. Omen by HP. If you didn't know, Omen, specifically Omen X, is HP's kind of premium gaming brand. So it's where they do all their most interesting experiments and whatnot. And this one is definitely one of the most interesting we've seen in a while. Now, it's not like the first laptop we've seen that comes with a dual screen. I mean, even the MacBook has kind of started the trend with the touch bar, but this is something pretty different. All right, so let's take the actual box out here. But first, it looks like we gotta pull out whatever this part is here. Is this the, doesn't look like this is a power cord. But it is a, what is this thing? Oh, it's a wrist rest. Huh, that's kind of nice. I've never seen a gaming laptop come with a wrist rest. I think that's what that is. Yeah, wrist rest, cool. Let's see what else is in the box. Hopefully a laptop, because that'd be disappointing. That's a kind of cool box. I can't remember what the last Omen gaming laptop box looked like, but that's a pretty fancy design. Again, the Omen X is their sort of premium brand. So let's see what's inside here. Got kind of a cloth bag around. Here it is. The Omen X2S. Before I open it up, let's see what else is in here. Looks like your power cable here. This is a pretty large power bank there. Not the biggest I've seen, but it's fairly large. I don't know the wattage off the top of my head, but it's a pretty big one. This is kind of an interesting, actually, cord here. Oh, that's interesting. I've opened up a lot of laptops in my day, and I've never seen it come in a wrapped plastic thing like this. Oh, there we go. All right, it's just a cord. It's just a power cord. Nothing exciting there. Let's get that out of the way, and probably an instruction manual here. Anything else in here? Looks like we got the other end of the power. With all that out of the way, let's take a look at this laptop, because that's why we're here. First off, my first impression is just, it's way, way nicer to look at than I thought. You can tell it's made out of aluminum, feels pretty sturdy, and I like this design, I gotta say. I like this look. Before I open it up, let's just take a look around the ports. You've got some USB-A here, you got two USB-A there, you got your RJ45 Ethernet jack, headphone jack, power there, HDMI. Looks like there's nothing along the back. We've seen a lot of gaming laptops move towards having some ports on the back, but for these thinner ones, which this is pretty thin, I remember it's somewhere around 5.5 pounds in terms of weight, so pretty nice and thin. Then we got a USB-C, and then we got the Thunderbolt sign there, so it is a Thunderbolt 3 port and one more USB-A port. So pretty good in terms of port selection, kind of what you'd expect in an expensive gaming laptop. But let's crack this thing open and see what we're looking at here. Pretty interesting. I mean, so right off the bat, this sort of keyboard trackpad setup with it side by side is something we've seen before. The Zephyrus laptops use this, but we always kind of we're like, the top part was always just empty. There was nothing there. And now there's a screen here. And even though it looks like it's going all the way across, it's actually just a 6-inch 1080p screen. So it's kind of like phone sized in a sense. And so hopefully we're gonna get this turned on so we can actually show you what it looks like and what you can actually do with it. But sort of the basics here are looking really interesting. this keyboard layout and just the way this all feels really similar to that Zephyrus laptop. And you've got some of the same actual controls over here. One of these is a number pad, and you can do some different things, some different controls with the actual second screen. But really, you know, let's get it turned on because that's where the fun stuff is. All right, let's plug this guy in and see what this second screen looks like. So we need a power button. Power button over here in the top left corner, there we go. Now, sort of some of the basics about what this laptop is outside of the little second screen there. I mean, this is a high-end gaming laptop. It starts, I believe, at $1,800 right now, which gets you the 1080p screen, which is at 144 Hertz. You can obviously jump up to the 240 Hertz refresh rate or up to a 4K screen from there. Comes with high-end components like you get the 9th gen Core i7 or the 8-core Core i9, so you can jump all the way up to that for like insane amount of cores if you need it for like content creation stuff. And then this one starts at an RTX 2070 for graphics, and of course you can go up to the RTX 2080 also. All right, cool, so it turned on, and this is what we're getting kind of right out of the box, right when you turn it on in terms of the second screen. I mean, my first impressions before I get into what we're actually looking at here is it's actually really clean and sharp. So it's a 1080p screen, but it's, you know, not that big, and it's right here on the keyboard. And I originally thought that this might be kind of an issue in terms of the placement of it. Like, do I really want to look down at this all the time? And, you know, maybe not, but just my first impressions is it's pretty cool, you know? It's a cool little thing, even though you do have these like wasted edges here that don't do anything at all. But all right, let's look at what we've got here. It looks like some kind of a dashboard that gives some, you know, metrics about, yeah, some of the kind of command center things. So you got your kind of GPU, CPU utilization, your memory. You got a few different performance modes here in terms of speeding up the fans, and then some lighting options. This is cool. Is that working? Are we getting different colors there? That's cool. And so obviously this thing is all touchscreen, which is really cool, really interesting. So, and then we get to the first thing here, which is the real-time screen mirroring. Why would you want to mirror the same screen onto a smaller screen? Doesn't make sense, right? But what you can actually do, supposedly, is crop just a part of the screen and then move it down into the second screen. So you could imagine maybe you have your map that's in like your mini map in the bottom right-hand corner. You could take just that and put it right down at the bottom into the second screen. So it could be kind of helpful, and since it's touchscreen, you know, you can move around the map easily if that's what you want to do. Or another example that HP gave was maybe you want to crop just your reticle, like in a first-person shooter, and plop that down there, and all of a sudden you have a zoomed-in version of your reticle where you're shooting, you know? That's cool, a cool another option for what you can do with it. So I'm gonna go ahead and hit start here and see what happens. That's funny that I was just mentioning that because it says right down here, the asterisk, most FPS games are not supported due to the aim system. So maybe that's not quite as easy to use as we once thought. Oh, before I move on, we got some screen brightness here. It's a very bright screen. In fact, one of the first things I noticed, just comparing it to the actual screen of the laptop, it's like significantly brighter. And it's a glossy display versus a matte display, which probably explains a little bit of that. But it's almost jarring how much brighter this is than the main display, because I've got this turned up all the way, and that looks, from my eye, that looks like it's under 300 nits. I'm not totally sure, but if I had to guess, that's where I'd put it. And then one other thing we were just playing with here is the keyboard brightness. It does have RGB lighting, but it's a kind of on or off situation with the brightness levels, which that's not cool. But let's see if we can get anything else going here. So we have the touch controls, the app window switcher. So you can kind of cycle through apps if that's what you're doing. But really what I want to do is get us to the other thing you can do with this, which is use it as a second window for applications or for a browser window. So I just tapped that and it moved it up to the main screen, which is interesting. I'm just learning all sorts of things here. I don't know, just clicking on things. But once I actually am able to do this. Supposedly, you can do things like have another video playing while you're playing a game. You could have a messaging app open, you know, some stuff like that that people might be interested in for having a second screen that's completely like off of your main screen. All right, so let's test out what we can do with actually pulling down, you know, any kind of other app that we might want to use while we're in the middle of a game. So right now we have it set up so that you can really just, this is just like having a second screen, like as if this was an external monitor. So you can just drag a window right down here. And that's pretty cool. That's interesting. And yeah, the touch controls work completely fine. Or you can of course use this touchpad and keyboard. I will say just using the keyboard and touchpad, they feel pretty cramped. The Zephyrus that I mentioned earlier that has the same setup was a 17-inch model, and that allowed for a little more space here, but this just feels a little cramped for me. I did mention that there are other laptops with second screens like this. The Asus has some models where in place of the touchpad, you're able to have a second screen. But this feels a lot more natural than that because the screens are right next to each other. So you can drag a window back and forth and it doesn't feel strange at all. You know, we're not gonna be able to load up a game right now because obviously we just pulled this out of the box, but you can imagine pretty easily how you could have a separate window open while you're in the middle of a game. And one of the examples that HP used as to why this might be useful is, let's say you're in the middle of matches, like you just finished a match, and we have a virus and threat protection on, cool. Let's say you're in the middle of a match and you're kind of waiting for another match to start. You know, you might want to, like, instead of pulling out your phone, you can kind of just like check out your messages, you could browse, you could watch videos, you can do whatever you want without having to exit out of your main game, which honestly is actually kind of convenient. And I think that's where HP got a lot of these ideas, was like they were noticing that a lot of people were using their phones while they're gaming at the same time or playing like external music at the same time. So this is kind of a way around that. And you know, it's definitely a like first generation type of thing, but you know, who knows, maybe in the future, like we're gonna see more of these coming out. So obviously this is a gaming laptop and performance is the biggest thing you probably wanna know about it, but we just pulled it out of the box. So obviously we got a lot of testing and benchmarking to do with it, which we're gonna do in a full review. So make sure to check that out later. But for now, there are a few things that HP has actually done that they've told us about that make this possibly a better performer than your standard gaming laptop. The first thing they're doing, they're saying that they're the first gaming laptop to use the Thermal Grizzly compound liquid metal instead of your typical thermal paste, which they're saying will produce a percentage upgrade of up to 28%, which in games, and that's quite a claim. So I'll be really curious to see exactly what that performance difference ends up being. The other thing that HP says is going to help with performance is the new thermal solution. So apparently we've got some new stuff going on here in terms of cooling this really high-powered gaming laptop. And the first thing is some new heat intake vents. So you've got 3 now, 1 on the side and 2 across the back. And then you've also got some bigger heat pipes inside the actual system, which this is pretty cool. I mean, you can see right here the 2 fans and the heat pipes. And this, we're not gonna do it right now, but it'd be pretty easy to, you know, plop off these screws and get in there, which apparently you can swap out the RAM and the SSD really easily, which we always like to see in a gaming laptop. So that's kind of their first look at the HP Omen X S2, but that's not all we're gonna be taking a look at. We got a whole other box here, which I do have an idea of what's in, but I'm really curious to see what it all looks like. There's some not included accessories, but some new accessories that HP is sending to people like me to check out. So we're gonna see what's inside here. And hopefully it's cool. We don't need any of that. All right, so here we've got the new mouse, the Omen Photon wireless mouse. This is actually a pretty cool mouse because like some of the other ones out there, like the Razer Mamba Firefly Duo, this is a Qi wireless charging mouse. So you can set it up with the mat that's in here and use it as a wireless mouse and never have to plug it in and charge it, which is really cool. So here is the, what's the name of this guy? The Outpost. That is the wireless charging mat. And is that all? That is all. So there is another keyboard that is included, not included, but that goes along with this whole new Omen theme. But apparently we didn't get it in the box. So what we got here is the wireless mat and the wireless mouse. So let's get this open. Looks like we got some tape here. I feel like I'm opening a pizza. Okay, here's the mat. Really cool. I really like these solutions that kind of ditch the cord on the mouse and just leave the cord on the mat, because you just don't have to worry about that cord dangling everywhere. Even though you do still have a cord on your desk, I feel like it's a lot easier to hide. So there's that. What do we got here? A USB-C to USB-A, looks like. And got a manual. So that's it for the pizza box. Let's pull out the Omen Photon wireless mouse and see what that looks like. Okay. Cool. So I'm kind of new to HP's premium mice that they have, premium gaming mice. It's interesting. It has these two removable thumb rests, so you can work for lefties and righties. That's always nice. The feel is, I'm gonna be honest, not the most premium feeling thing in the world. It feels a little flimsy, but I'm not sure off the top of my head how much this costs, but it does fit in with the whole theme of the HP Omen. And we've got two side buttons here, a scroll wheel, a center left and right button, and looks like that's it. Don't have the buttons on the right side, so even though it kind of looks like it's working for lefties and righties, it doesn't quite have the full functionality for that, but they tried. Let's see what this looks like here. Here is this. That was a lovely sound. And we're not gonna do a full thing here, but I just kind of want to show you guys what this all looks like. And like I said, these are really cool setups, and I think I'd just like to see more and more of these in the future, because I think it just makes for a really elegant kind of setup. So that's our first look and unboxing at some of these new HP Omen peripherals and the new HP Omen X S2 gaming laptop. I mean, I hope you think this was interesting, because I think this is a cool way that gaming laptops could be. I don't know if they're the future. I mean, obviously, you're gonna get some pretty bad battery life with this thing as it sucks up from that additional screen, but I think it's pretty interesting. But I wanna know what you guys think, so please leave us a comment below. Tell us what you think you would use this for, if there's a particular game scenario where you actually think you could use that second screen, or if you think this whole idea is crazy and you would never touch it. Let us know in the comments, and make sure if you have any questions for me, I'm gonna be doing the deep dive on this review, leave them down below and I'll make sure to include them in my testing so we can get a full review of this thing going. So thanks for watching, and make sure to subscribe for more videos from Digital Trends.